I had a group home with adolescent boys. And I had some staff, and I had to go to a meeting one night with my program director. And these are 6 adolescent boys who had all come from either residential treatment centers or group homes or some other blowout facility out of state. They were the worst of the worst. And we were short-staffed. I said, you don't have to do anything. You don't even have to talk to them. Just let them do whatever they want to do. Why? Because I trusted those boys, because I have a relationship with them, I have a history with them, and I know that anything they do is not going to be that bad. We're at the meeting for about half an hour, my phone goes off. It's one of them, his name's Demosthenes, and his nick, I called him Little Bear because he was aggressive. So I called him Little Bear because I was Big Bear. And every now and then, Big Bear had to put Little Bear in his little place because Little Bear liked to pick on all the other boys. So he said, Post, where are you at? I said, I'm at a meeting. I said, what's going on? Mr. O's tripping. Okay, you guys just go watch TV or go do something. I'll be there in a little bit. All right. Click. 10 minutes later, Post, where you at, man? I'm going to be there in a minute. Mr. O is tripping, dude. You guys just go in your room, hang out, go outside, go do something. I'll be there. Click, hang up. 3rd time. Post, I'm on my way. So I get there, now it's dark. It's like 9:30 at night. 2 police officers, all the boys outside. Mr. O's there, standing next to the police officers. The housekeeper has quit. She just quit. She walked out. I went over next to Mr. O. I said, Mr. O, I'm glad you're here. Thanks for being here. You can go home. So he said, okay. So he takes off. And then I say to the 2 police officers, I got this, guys. We're good. They said, you sure? I said, we're good. So they take off. And I said, okay, let's go upstairs. Upstairs. Let's go upstairs. Upstairs. They all went upstairs, and they all went to their rooms within about 3 minutes. And I sat at the top of the stairs just in case one of them came out. I didn't want one to get all the rest of them stirred up. So I sat at the top of the stairs, and it was about 10 minutes past. And then Doug and Dee, Little Bear, came out and went down the stairs. I moved over so they could go down the stairs, didn't say anything. I needed to keep it quiet. I wanted all the other kids to stay in their rooms. So I let them go down the stairs, and then I waited at the top of the stairs just in case someone else came out and I could redirect them back to bed. No one came out. I went downstairs. The 2 boys were eating cereal at the table. So I went over and I sat down at the table, and Little Bear said, oh, man, Mr. O was tripping tonight. I said, well, what happened? Oh, blah, 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 blah. Shoot it, and then Doug said, yeah, and Dee peed in the middle of the floor. And so they're laughing, eating this, and I take some deep breaths. You peed in the middle of the floor? Yeah, he peed right there, and there was a chair in the middle of the living room floor where Little Bear had peed. I said, wow. So I got up and moved the chair and got down on my knee and felt it, and sure enough, it was wet. He had peed, and he said, and Winnie just quit. That was the housekeeper. More deep breaths. Went over to the kitchen, got under the sink and got some cleaning supplies and got a rag, and I walked back over and I got down on my knees and I cleaned up the pee. And then I get up, walking back to the kitchen, put the stuff away, and the boys are sitting there, jaws open, not eating, watching, and in shock. And I come back and I sit down and Little Bear said, dang, Post, I didn't expect you to clean it up. I said, buddy, well, who else was supposed to? I said, it's my fault. And I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry that I left you here in a place that was so stressful that you would get stressed out enough to revert back to a 2-year-old and pee in the middle of the floor. Dude, I'm sorry, man. I said, because only 2-year-olds pee in the middle of the floor. So that tells me how stressful it was. And then Doug said, well, I'm going to pee in the middle of the floor. And I just looked at him and I said, you do what you need to do. That's all I said. We sat there. I said, finish your cereal and go to bed. They finished their cereal. They put their bowls in the sink and they went to bed. Little Bear was 16 years old when that happened. He had been in the system since he was 10. 10 years later, 10, 11 years later, he came to visit me. I was in Arkansas at the time. I got him a bus ticket and he came out to visit. And we were hanging out one day and he said, you know when the first time was that I ever experienced being loved? I said, no, when was that? He said, well, do you remember that night you left us at the group home and Mr. O was there and I peed in the middle of the floor? I was like, yeah. He said, when you cleaned up that pee, that was the first time I ever felt loved. You never know what impact you're having today will create the outcome for tomorrow.